What is happening to me?
Tom Holland called his own Spider-Man going through puberty, and Marvel shot it down immediately. But here is the thing. The idea survived. It just got a better name. And what ended up in the movie is genuinely one of the most wild things that has ever happened to Peter Parker. Not just in the MCU, but in over 60 years of Spider-Man comics. So let us talk about what Spider Puberty actually is, where it comes from, what it means for Peter Parker, and why Tom Holland was the one who started it all. Peter Parker at the start of Brand New Day is completely alone. 4 years have passed since the events of No Way Home. Everyone forgot who he was. MJ does not know him. Ned does not know him. His friends, every single person he has ever loved, gone from his life not because they died, but because they are literally walking around New York with no memory that he exists. That is already brutal enough. But on top of that, Peter has thrown himself into being Spider-Man full-time. No social life, no relationships, no breaks. Just crime fighting. Day after day, night after night, completely alone. And that relentless stress, that constant pushing of his body and his mind beyond what any human being should be able to handle, starts doing something to him. His powers begin to change. His body starts evolving in ways he cannot explain and cannot control. That is the core of Spider Puberty. Peter Parker going through a second mutation. Now, Tom Holland himself is the reason this story exists in the movie. He said it in a recent interview with Empire magazine. When he was finally invited into the writer's room for the first time since joining the MCU nearly a decade ago, he came in with a pitch. He called it Spider Puberty. His question was simple. What happens if Peter Parker starts losing control? What if things begin changing in ways he did not sign up for? Marvel immediately rejected the name. You can probably imagine why, but they loved the idea underneath it. The concept of Peter's biology reacting to the pressure he is living under and mutating into something new and potentially dangerous that survived, that became a major part of what Brand New Day is about. So when you watch this movie and you see Peter waking up inside a web cocoon that his own body produced without him choosing to do it, that moment exists because Tom Holland walked into a room and said, "What if Spider-Man went through puberty again?" But here is where it gets really interesting. This is not just a movie idea. Marvel Comics did something almost exactly like this back in 2005. The storyline was called The Other, Evolve or Die. In that story, Peter Parker is dying. A villain named Morlun, who is basically a supernatural predator that feeds on spider totems, nearly beats Peter to death. And during that fight, something in Peter snaps open. Something primal. He sprouts wrist stingers, not mechanical, not gadgets, biological stingers that come out of his own skin. He bites Morlun. He fights with an animalistic ferocity that has nothing to do with the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man people we're used to seeing. Then, he dies. Or at least, everyone thinks he does. His body dissolves into a cocoon beneath the Brooklyn Bridge, and when he comes out the other side, he is not exactly the same person. He still has the wrist stingers. He has night vision. He can feel vibrations through his own webbing. He can stick to things using the skin on his back, not just his hands. He can communicate with actual spiders. His body had fully committed to being a spider. Not just a person with spider abilities, but something that was genuinely becoming more arachnid than human. And in the Brand New Day trailer, you can see echoes of all of that. Peter waking up in a cocoon made of biological webbing, his own body produced, his eyes going completely black. His body doing things he did not tell it to do. That is The Other. That is the comic's precedent for exactly what is happening to him in this movie. There is also another comic story worth knowing about. Back in Amazing Spider-Man issues 100 through 102, Peter Parker accidentally gave himself 6 arms. He wanted to cure himself of his spider powers entirely and drank an experimental formula. Instead of removing his abilities, it gave him 4 extra arms. He spent several issues basically in a panic trying to reverse it because he was becoming less human by the day. That story, called the Six Arms Saga, showed that Peter's mutation was never really stable. that his body was always capable of going further if pushed in the right direction, or the wrong one. Brand New Day is pulling from all of this. The idea that Peter's biology is not a fixed thing, that the radioactive spider bite did not just give him a set of powers and stop, it rewrote something at a genetic level that is still capable of changing. So what does it actually mean for Peter in the movie? Based on what has been confirmed and what the trailer shows, Peter's evolving powers are becoming a threat to him, not just physically, but in terms of who he is. The official synopsis for the movie says the physical evolution threatens his existence. That is not a small thing. Peter goes to Bruce Banner for help, and that choice makes complete sense when you think about it. Bruce Banner is the one person in the MCU who understands what it means to have your own body turn against you. He knows what it feels like to have something living inside your biology that operates on its own terms, that does not care what you want, that could hurt the people around you if it gets out of control. So Peter, alone, scared, and physically changing in ways he does not understand, goes to the one guy who might actually get it. That dynamic is one of the most emotionally charged things about this movie before it has even come out. There is a deeper question underneath all of this that the comics took seriously, and that Brand New Day seems to want to explore too. Is Peter Parker a man who has spider abilities, or is he something else entirely? When he first got bitten, he was a teenager. His body was still developing. The mutation had room to grow with him. But what happens when that process is not finished? What happens when stress and trauma and years of pushing himself past every human limit starts accelerating something that was always there, waiting? The other comic asked this directly. Peter had to face the idea that the spider was not just a metaphor, that there was a totem, a kind of cosmic spider entity that had chosen him. And that by fighting it for so long, by insisting on being just Peter Parker the person, he was leaving part of himself unfinished. Brand New Day, based on everything we know so far, is asking the same question. With everyone who knew him gone, with no personal life to hold on to, the only thing left is Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's body is responding to that by trying to complete a process that started when Peter was 15 years old and got bitten in a lab. That is genuinely compelling storytelling. That is not just a cool power upgrade. That is a character study wearing the skin of a superhero movie. One more thing worth pointing out. The timing of all this is important. In Spider-Man 2, the classic Sam Raimi film, Peter Parker lost his powers because of the emotional weight he was carrying. The stress of living a double life made his biology shut down. His web shooters stopped working. He could not stick to walls properly. He lost himself trying to be both Peter and Spider-Man at once. Brand New Day is doing the exact opposite. Peter has no double life anymore. He is only Spider-Man, and instead of losing his powers, his body is going too far in the other direction. Too much Spider-Man, not enough Peter Parker, and the result is a mutation that could destroy him. That inversion is elegant. It respects the history without repeating it. And it puts Tom Holland's version of the character in completely new territory that no other Spider-Man film has gone near. Spider Puberty was a joke name. It got shot down in a writer's room. But the question behind it was serious. What happens when Spider-Man's body decides to keep evolving on its own? What happens when the mutation is not done with Peter Parker? Brand New Day is about to answer it for the MCU. With a Peter Parker who is completely alone, completely changed, and trying to figure out if what he is becoming is still him. Spider-Man Brand New Day hits theaters on the 31st of July 2026. If this video helped you understand what is actually going on with Peter's powers in Brand New Day, drop a like and subscribe. More Marvel deep dives are coming, and you do not want to miss the breakdown when the movie actually comes out.